aligned with past revolutions, dancing light shadows across the surface of time like an eclipse. This work moves and persists in moments, through memory, optimistically, unfinished. Monday, June 19th, 2023, around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. A skywriter in a tiny plane traced the dimensions of the historic Weeksville neighborhood. In the sky, above what we now call Crown Heights, or Brooklyn, New York. A shape mapping roughly 500 acres, visible for miles and minutes.
I'm a steward of Weeksville's history and legacy, and I make connections between Weeksville's past, present, and think about its future. Historic Weeksville was founded in 1838, really as an economic, social, and political project. Really, if you were, at that time, 21 years of age, male only, unfortunately only male, on land above $250, you would have the right to vote and enjoy full citizenship. So the ideals around economic empowerment, economic justice, political participation, and really questioning ideas and notions of what it means to be American are at the center, or were at the center of Weeksville's founding.
We met at Lincoln Terrace Park. Our faces turned toward the sky, watching lines form, then connect, and dissipate, losing shape moments after their creation, like dreaming. Like Weeksville, and like us, perpetually becoming something else as we watched, as we breathed, as we let it become a part of us. At 9,000 feet, this drawing felt small and enormous at the same time. My cousin watching it with me said, "It looks great," in a sad kind of way. At its height, Weeksville spanned from Troy and Fulton to Fulton and Ralph, Ralph and East New York Avenue, to East New York Avenue and Troy.
I grew up in this neighborhood, which was once known as Weeksville. I didn't really learn about Weeksville until like in my adult age.
I always dreamed of living back in Bedford-Stuyvesant because it was different. You know, it was like home. The foods we eat, the foods we ate, the things we do, we bring those with us. That's what makes a community. And you become more acclimated to it because you are surrounded by people like you.
I was born in South Africa. My family immigrated to Australia. They're culturally very different. The first time that I came to Brooklyn was the first time that I felt that sense of familiarity. Walking around and seeing people sitting on their stoops reminded me of in Durban in South Africa, everybody comes out onto the street and there's a sense of community and belonging, and that's what I felt immediately when I came to Brooklyn.
You know, the story of Weeksville is one of land ownership on the way to enfranchisement, right? That is sort of, at its heart, what Weeksville was about. It wasn't just a community that sprouted up out of nowhere. It was intentional. And I think that so often, also Black stories aren't told as stories of intention, right? Oh, these things happens. Like, no. People sat and got together and decided, we want better for ourselves, and we're gonna do it on our own.
Weeksville was one of the first recognized free Black communities in the United States of America. Black folks cultivated and nurtured this space from the early 1830s into the 1930s. Urban renewal changed the name and the shape of this neighborhood, but it persists as a foundation, as a history, as a heritage center, a lineage, and a national landmark.
And hearing the murmurs that this had been a community of Black people, you know, land owned by Black people, a large settlement of Black people who are independent and affluent. And, you know, that was kind of like urban legend in a way. And then a friend of mine, Elisa Blount Moorhead, started becoming a part of this group that was deciding what the foundation of the Weeksville Project would be. And that's when I started really hearing that it was going to be something official.
Absolutely, because a lot of the inequities that exist today exist because of, as a friend of mine said, the editing of history. What is that saying? If the lion does not have a historian, then only the hunter's side of the tale gets told. Well, that's very clear about what we're seeing. You know, the Native American story, we're sitting on land of people who the land was stolen from them and they were devastated. We're sitting in a country where that was built by people who were stolen, forced to work for free.
Weeksville provides us a space where we can build community. That's a huge part of my work, and we come from community. Community has been a part of our entire existence, whether we know it or not, whether we sought outside sources for our community, friends, you know, some people who had gangs, you know, so everybody is always seeking community because we cannot do this life thing alone. So I appreciate the Weeksville Center for providing that space where we can gather as community, where we can heal, we can grow, we can laugh, we can eat, and we can dance and just build as one.
Besides being around my people, That's it, right? Being in community, right? Being around people that look like you, and even if they don't look like you, people who are about it, okay? Because we have our allies as well. You know, good food, good music. I was vibing to the music before I came in here. Good food, good music, good drinks, good people. What else do we need in the world? Happiness, you know?
It's worth noting that there are spaces of Black history like Weeksville all over this country. We just don't learn about them. Many were erased.
You know, I've been here many times. I came years ago when they were really trying to make the people more aware of Weeksville, because there are a lot of people that live in Bedford-Stuyvesant that don't know a lot about it, like I didn't either. So, you know, I need to, like I say, renew my knowledge of Weeksville.
The fact that Weeksville still exists, that we still have the houses, is a tangible link to the past. Right? So it makes history very real and very lived, and it creates an experience to talk about Weeksville's history in a very unique way. So I can say that there is genuinely no place like Weeksville.
The driving sentiment of this 40 Acres archive asserts that understanding these histories can help us make sense of our built environments and the associated inequalities that we now live under, while celebrating the memory and accomplishments of communities that shape the landscape and the culture of these spaces we love and call home. For those that don't know, the phrase 40 acres and a mule, amongst many forms, lives within diasporic memories as the remembered failure of the United States to make amends for the brutal conditions that Black Americans endure to push this country towards the so-called democracy that it proudly celebrates. This phrase resonates across temporal atmospheres as a living memory passed down through generations, accounting for centuries of land injustice and the reparations owed by the United States to Black and Indigenous people for the many forestalled promises of equality still accruing new debt today.
We're all like a little part of the story, right? Like one thing I love is like looking up at the stars, because it reminds me of how small we all really are in the grand scheme of things. Like Earth isn't even that big in the grand scheme of things, right? The sun like dwarfs us. But in our little space, right? In my little circle, in this little space I inhabit, I hope that I can make someone feel better about themselves. I hope that I can make someone think about their community different, to care more. I feel like if I can do that in just this little space that I inhabit, that like a wave, right? Hopefully, sorry, I might get a little emotional. Hopefully those things ripple out and have a greater effect on everyone. If we're all doing what we can in our little spaces, then like the world is immediately different.
On theme, Nothing went exactly according to plan with our Juneteenth skywriting. There was supposed to be 2 skywriters. There was 1. We wanted it to happen on Sunday, but the sky would not allow it. Honestly, the skywriter didn't even follow all of my instructions or draw exactly what I asked him to. But it's okay. Because at the end of the day, this work really is not about art. As in, having a perfectly straight, square photograph on the wall or in the sky. This work is about showing love. This work is about time. It's about community, history, and sharing respect. This work is about holding important memories outside of systems that would forget them and projecting the hope of our struggles across generations. Aligned with past revolutions, dancing light shadows across the surface of time like an eclipse. This work moves and persists in moments, through memory, optimistically, unfinished.